Do you ever feel like no matter how hard you try, you just don't understand women? Like there's this invisible code, and every move you make, every word you say, is somehow misread. Most men go their entire lives blind to a truth that's hiding in plain sight. And the sad part, 97% of men will never know these 5 psychological secrets that can completely change how women see them, respond to them, and even desire them. Let's start with the first hidden truth. Women are not always telling you what they mean, but they are always showing it in subtle ways. A glance, a shift in posture, the tone of a simple, "I'm fine." These are the breadcrumbs most men fail to follow. Imagine thinking she's calm, only to realize later that every action, every word was a quiet signal of her frustration or even attraction. This is the kind of information that turns ordinary men into men who can read situations like a map, who can sense moods, intentions, and desires without her saying a single word. The second secret is that women are wired to respond to confidence, but not the confidence you think you need to show. Most men believe confidence is about loudness, dominance, or showing off wealth. It's not. True psychological confidence is silent, deliberate, and rooted in self-awareness. It's the subtle way you hold yourself when you're not seeking approval, the calm in your voice when she tries to push buttons, the steadiness of your attention when everyone else is panicking. Women notice this instinctively, even if they can't explain it. And here's the kicker. It creates a magnetic pull that is almost impossible to resist. The third secret is far more uncomfortable for most men to hear. Women are constantly analyzing your behavior patterns, not your promises. They're scanning for consistency, reliability, and emotional intelligence. That joke you laughed at 2 weeks ago, the way you listened when she vented about her day, she remembers it. She uses it as evidence to predict if she can trust you, if she can invest emotionally, and ultimately, if you're someone worth keeping around. This is why men with the same words and gestures often see wildly different responses, because women are reading beyond words, looking for the silent language of character. And it's here where most men fail. They think attraction is about grand gestures or epic declarations. It's not. Attraction is about subtle patterns, emotional safety, and psychological resonance. Missing this means missing everything. Imagine standing in a room full of women thinking you're making an impression while the real signals you're sending go unnoticed, or worse, misunderstood. It's like shouting into the wind. Most men never learn to listen to the wind, but when you do, everything changes. The fourth secret: women are drawn to men who create emotional contrast. Life is chaotic, and they want someone who can anchor them, but also challenge them just enough to keep their minds alert. Emotional contrast isn't manipulation. It's mastering the art of presence and intensity. It's the difference between being forgettable and unforgettable. Men who ignore this play safe, and safety is not exciting. It's a slow fade into invisibility. The men who succeed, who command attention without trying too hard, they instinctively understand this invisible law. Most men have no idea that what women say is rarely the full story. Words are just the surface. Actions, pauses, even what she doesn't say, reveal the real truth. Here's a secret almost no man realizes. Women are wired to test boundaries unconsciously. Not to manipulate, not to play games, but to see if a man is steady enough to handle real connection. That small hesitation in her response, that fleeting glance away, these aren't coincidences. They are psychological probes. And the men who fail? They react impulsively, over-explaining, chasing approval. The men who succeed? They remain calm, collected, and responsive in ways that make women feel safe yet intrigued. The fifth secret is deceptively simple, but incredibly powerful. Women crave emotional authenticity over perfection. Every movie, every story, every social media highlight makes men think women are looking for flawless heroes. They aren't. They're looking for a man who shows depth, who can navigate his own emotions without losing control. A man who can laugh at his mistakes, acknowledge his flaws, and still hold himself with dignity, sends signals that are far more magnetic than bravado or wealth ever could. Emotional authenticity triggers something primal: trust, respect, and a deep desire to connect. Here's a harsh reality most men overlook. Women can sense when you're emotionally reactive. Every time you overanalyze her texts, obsess over her social media activity, or try to predict her every move, you're broadcasting insecurity. Insecurity kills attraction faster than any mistake you could make in conversation. Women are looking for emotional stability because it signals security, not just financial, but psychological. A man who can remain calm, consistent, and centered becomes a silent anchor, someone she subconsciously associates with safety, value, and future possibilities. And here's the psychological twist most men never understand. Women are deeply attracted to contrast in energy. They crave calm, confidence, and stability, but they also respond to unpredictability in small doses. A man who can balance warmth with a hint of challenge, attention with subtle independence, predictability with mystery, creates a tension that keeps her mind engaged. It's not about playing games. It's about understanding the rhythm of human psychology, knowing when to push, when to hold back, when to listen, and when to lead. This tension creates fascination, desire, and a sense of emotional gravity that is almost impossible to ignore. Most men fail because they try to fit into a script. They think if they follow advice, mimic behaviors, or say the right words, attraction will magically appear. It doesn't. Women respond to patterns, instincts, and emotional resonance, not rehearsed lines. Every reaction, every subtle gesture, every micro-expression is information. If you learn to read it, understand it, and respond in ways that reflect confidence and authenticity, you step into a different world, a world where women are naturally drawn to your presence. And here's one final truth for this section. Psychological mastery isn't about control. It's about influence, connection, and awareness. It's about seeing the hidden currents beneath every interaction and navigating them with calm precision. Most men never see the currents. They crash against the waves, exhausted and frustrated. But the few who understand, who learn to read the signs, who master subtle psychological dynamics, they don't just attract women. They create connection, trust, and longing that lasts far beyond any superficial encounter. By now, you might be wondering, how do I actually use these secrets without coming off as manipulative or fake? The truth is, it's not about manipulation. It's about mastery of awareness. Women are subconsciously evaluating you every second. They notice how you carry yourself, how you respond under pressure, how you handle disappointment, and even how you treat strangers. These subtle cues form a psychological map of who you are, and most men don't even realize they're broadcasting signals constantly. Here's a crucial insight. Emotional tension creates attraction. Women are drawn to men who can generate energy without desperation, intensity without volatility. Think about the last time you met someone magnetic. It wasn't just about looks, it was about presence, unpredictability, and the sense that this person could handle life's highs and lows without falling apart. That magnetic energy comes from internal stability, not external approval. And it's something almost no man intentionally cultivates. Now let's talk about listening, really listening. Women are masters of subtle communication. They drop hints, test reactions, and leave gaps in conversation intentionally. Most men panic in these gaps, overcompensating with words, trying to fill the silence. But a man who listens deeply, who observes and mirrors emotional cues, becomes rare, valuable, and irresistibly compelling. Your ability to hear what isn't said signals that you're attuned, emotionally intelligent, and worth investment. Here's the psychological trick most men ignore: emotional contrast in action. You can't just talk about being confident. You must live it subtly. Show decisiveness when others hesitate, smile when others stress, make choices with clarity, and let your presence carry weight without a word. Women notice these contrasts instinctively. They feel it as attraction before they even understand why. Emotional contrast is not about games, it's about balance. Steady, grounded, yet alive with energy that keeps her engaged and intrigued. Another hidden truth: vulnerability is magnetic, but only when paired with strength. Women don't want a perfect man. They want a man who can show depth without collapse. Sharing your struggles, your values, and your aspirations communicates humanity, courage, and trustworthiness. But showing weakness without composure triggers the opposite. It signals instability, and attraction fades. The balance between emotional exposure and inner stability is the silent code that most men never crack. Consistency matters more than charm. Every subtle action, returning calls on time, following through on commitments, remembering small details, builds a psychological narrative of reliability. This narrative is far more compelling than grand gestures or flashy displays. Women notice it instinctively. often before you even realize it. When combined with confidence, emotional awareness, and subtle contrast, this creates a gravitational pull few men ever achieve. Finally, understand this. The most powerful attraction is invisible. It's in the calm of your presence, the steadiness of your energy, and the way you make her feel seen without effort. Women crave men who make them feel alive, safe, and understood simultaneously. Most men chase approval, chase reactions, or chase words. Rare men craft energy that resonates, pulls, and lingers. That is the difference between being forgettable and unforgettable. Now that you understand these subtle psychological patterns, here's the ultimate truth most men never hear. Women don't fall for what you say. They respond to who you are in every single moment. Every glance, every pause, every choice you make broadcasts a signal. Most men are unconscious of it, reacting emotionally to small triggers, missing the silent cues that women are constantly sending. But when you step into awareness, you begin to guide the energy of interactions instead of chasing them. Here's what separates average men from unforgettable men: mastery of emotional rhythm. Women are drawn to men who can flow between intensity and calm, attention and independence, warmth and challenge. It's the subtle push and pull that creates fascination. A man who understands this doesn't need tricks, lines, or games. His energy alone communicates value, presence, and attraction. And once you understand this, you'll notice a profound shift in how women respond. Subtle smiles, deeper engagement, and lingering attention that wasn't there before. Another hidden layer most men miss is patience. Women reveal their deepest attraction only when they feel emotionally safe, intellectually stimulated, and subtly challenged. Rushing, over-texting, or trying to force connection breaks this delicate balance. The men who succeed master timing, presence, and observation. They move in harmony with her signals, not against them. Every word, action, and glance becomes a conscious choice that builds psychological tension and emotional resonance. Now, here's the most overlooked truth of all. Attraction is cumulative, not instantaneous. It's the combination of emotional intelligence, confidence, subtle contrast, vulnerability, and consistency over time that makes women notice, value, and desire a man deeply. One great night, one smooth line, or one superficial gesture cannot create lasting attraction. It's the patterns, the rhythms, the invisible narrative you build in her subconscious mind that matter most. This is why men who learn these 5 psychological secrets instantly move from invisible to unforgettable. And here's the final insight, the one that transforms everything. Women are drawn to men who are anchored in self-respect and personal growth. Not charm, not humor, not money, but a man who is improving, who has clarity of purpose, and who carries himself with calm authority. This isn't about ego, it's about energy. Women feel it, respond to it, and cannot ignore it. When you master your inner world, your outer world transforms. Attraction, respect, and influence flow naturally. So ask yourself this: how much of your energy, attention, and presence are you truly aware of? Are you showing the man she subconsciously wants to notice? Or are you giving her only the surface version that fades into the background? Think about it deeply and be honest. If you understand this, drop a comment below sharing which one of these 5 psychological secrets surprised you the most. Like this video if you found it valuable, subscribe for more insights into male and female psychology, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this today. The patterns are subtle, the impact is real, and your awareness can change everything.